Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rachel E. Scott. I am a self-published author and a small business owner, and I'm on a journey to become debt-free and financially self-sufficient so that I can be more conscientious and intentional with my money. So let's get into the cash stuffing.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see.
Okay, so today we are going to be cash stuffing $380. Quick explanation for like the amount here. I've explained this before, but I'm going to get into it because I'm going to explain some things today. But just for like a quick bird's eye view here, my income is very inconsistent as a small business owner and as a self-published author. Both of those things are very, very constantly fluctuating and inconsistent and all over the place. And I've mentioned it a couple of times, but recently my income has gone down a decent amount. So my cash stuffings are getting a little bit more stressful and less fun. I was telling my mom today, I like cash stuffing, but it's more fun when it feels like, hey, where do I want to put the money versus where can I put the money? Like, where can I stretch myself? And it gave me a little bit of a reality check that like this time last year, I started cash stuffing and it was my first experience cash stuffing ever. And I was putting $1 bills into envelopes because I didn't have enough money after I took out bills to put any more than a $1 bill in an envelope. And so it's given me the perspective of being really grateful for what I've been able to have recently in the past few months, and grateful for what I have right now, because this is still more money than I made this time last year. So, which we're going to get into that in a second. So anyway, I just wanted to explain why my cash stuffings are sometimes inconsistent. Also, I'm starting a new system. So this month I've decided to do a little bit differently. So what I did is I took my income, subtracted all of my bills for the month, and subtracted my variable expenses. And if you want to know how I budget, I have an entire video where I literally walked through my budget for the month, step by step, and I explained everything. So you can find all of that like explanation there. But what I did is I took my income, I subtracted my bills and my variable expenses and my savings challenges, because my savings challenges tend to be bigger amounts that I put into them. So, but what I had left was what I could put into my seeking funds. So into my low priority and high priority envelopes. That money I divided into 4 so that each week at the end of every week, I'm going to go and budget that like quarter amount of money. So like for instance, if you had $400 left over after bills, variable expenses, and savings challenges, you would divide that by 4. So each week would get $100, and every week you would budget that $100 into different categories. The reason I'm doing this is because I've noticed that budgeting is a little bit like looking into a crystal ball. You're trying to estimate what you might need, and I'm finding it a little bit difficult to accurately estimate for the entire month. So I'm going to try this process for the entire month of November and see how I like it. So every week I will budget my quarter amount of money to go in my envelopes and figure out where I need it for this week, because every week things come up that you weren't expecting and you go, oh wait, no, I'm doing this next week, now I'm gonna need budgeting money for that, but I didn't budget for it, so I just feel like it's gonna allow me to be more flexible. So we're going to try it and see how it works. So that's also why this is a smaller cash stuffing than normal, because I'm splitting it up into 4. instead of doing it all at once. And honestly, I kind of thought about maybe not even filming it because I was kind of embarrassed that my money or my income has gone down. And then I thought, you know what? When I started cash stuffing this time last year, I would have loved to have seen videos of somebody cash stuffing just like $100. That would have been very motivating to me to see somebody else who was in the small income bracket still budgeting anyway, even though it doesn't feel like you have a lot to budget with. So I'm going to continue to film these regardless of my income because A, it keeps me accountable, but B, I hope it inspires somebody who maybe doesn't have the funds they would like to have, and gives them like the courage or like the motivation to keep going anyway. So that being said, let's hop in. I do have an exciting thing first. So as if you've watched my previous cash stuffings, you've heard me talk about the brand Aftercolor. It's a small business where these people, they have the most beautiful, beautiful items, sweatshirts, t-shirts, sweatpants, stuff like that, that they hand like screen print. And it's all like Harry Potter and Taylor Swift themed stuff. Sometimes like both Harry Potter and Taylor Swift themed stuff, which I have so much in my cart, guys, that I want to buy from them, but I can't justify it right now with my income. But they recently had a restock of their sweatshirts. And there was one sweatshirt in particular I had been waiting to buy when it came back in stock, and that is, well, actually, I'll just show you. My favorite character from the Harry Potter universe is Ron. Well, actually, it's Harry because Harry and I are the same, but after that, it's Ron. And I've been wanting so badly. Look at their packaging, though. Like, they have these little, like, newspaper stickers. They're so cute. I've been wanting something that says Weasley on it. And they finally had it back in stock. So, oh my gosh. And it has the chess piece, you know, from the first book. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. So it's a hoodie, and I get my hoodies from them. I get 2XL because I like mine to be baggy, and to like hang down past my butt so that when I wear leggings, I feel like it covers my butt. I feel more comfortable. But that's just me. So I get 2XL because it's more comfortable to me that way. But isn't this so cute? Oh, and they hand screen print this. Like, by hand, they do the goop thing, which it just fascinates me, and I just think it's brilliant, and I love it so much. I cannot wait to wear this. I'm literally changing into this the minute this is over. I will insert either a picture or a video of me wearing it so that you can see what it looks like. If you've never tried Aftercolor, do it. This is not sponsored. I wish it was. That would be, like, the sponsorship of a lifetime. But alas, it's not. So, anyway, that's my exciting news, and let's get into the actual cash stuffing now. So as we cash stuff, I'm going to do something different today. I saw the Aesthetic Dollar. If you don't know who she is, her name is Emily, and she makes all kinds of budgeting utensils, tools, and things. She's great. Love her dearly. I mean, she has no idea who I am, but I think she's great. And she, in a video I watched of hers recently, she started doing like answering questions while she was cash stuffing so that it was more interesting to watch than her just talking about the cash stuffing. So I thought I would do that today. And I've gotten a lot of questions, or not a lot, but I've had a few people ask me about how I got started as a self-published author. So I thought I would kind of briefly go over it. I'm going to try not to be like babble about it, and I'm going to try and pay attention to what I'm doing so I don't get messed up. But I thought that would be fun. So I'm going to babble while I cash stuff. So I went to college actually for teaching, and I graduated in 2018. I substitute taught for 2 years, and then COVID happened while I was substitute teaching. Actually, at the time, I was subbing in Eating Out's not getting anything because it still has a 20. Groceries also still has a 20, so it's not getting anything. Kindness is getting a 5. I was doing a long-term sub job as a PE teacher, so it was a husband, but him and his wife were both out for paternity leave. So I think I was supposed to be there for like 3 months, but I think I was only there for like 6 to 8 weeks because COVID happened and everything shut down. So medical's not getting anything. I'm having a procedure done sometime in the next few months, but I'm not positive how much it is, and I have quite a while to save for it, and I think I have 175 right now, so we are set for the moment. And spending is getting a 20. So after COVID shut us down, I had been applying, like trying to get hired at the school district in my town. That's where I wanted to work as a full-time teacher, and finally got hired. So I got hired in the year of 2020. It was fall of 2020, and which meant, lovely for me, travel has 70, so it's not getting anything right now because I don't need to put anything in it. Yearly bills is not getting anything. I would like to stuff so much in all these envelopes, but it's just not feasible, man. So we do what we can and we don't get discouraged. Well, we keep going even when we're discouraged. So I got hired in fall of 2020, and which meant that I was basically teaching online. We had 25 in dog, so I'm not going to stuff it. Going out, I have 2 5s in my wallet, so I'm going to leave this envelope. Home is not getting anything. Miscellaneous is getting a 5. So I was teaching online. I'm not going to do the whole story of how that process went or how that worked for me. It was hell. It was the worst year ever. Only one other year of my life was worse than that one, and it was pretty miserable. I mean, I taught 3rd grade. The kids were amazing. I loved the kids. I loved them so dearly, but the people that I worked with were pretty horrible to me. And it was a very, like, I would say pretty confidently that I was bullied. I do have money for renovations, but it's in my wallet. It was a really horrible experience. Would not recommend. And I also discovered through doing that while I really, really, really love kids, I don't enjoy teaching them. I get really frustrated when they don't. I'm putting 120 into renovations, by the way, because I have some stuff out in the outdoor office that I'm going to build. Seasonal decor has a 20, it's not getting stuffed. Self-care has a 20, it's not getting stuffed. And wedding has 2 5s, and it's not getting stuffed. And this is low priorities, by the way. I'm talking and doing stuff at the same time. Anyway, but during that process, I realized that while I love kids, I don't love teaching them. I get frustrated when they don't understand things. And I don't know, like, I have a hard time figuring out how to teach them. I'm very creative, so I like creating fun things, but I have a hard time making those fun things work for, like, the stuff they're actually supposed to learn. So long story short, teaching was not for me. I was on a 1-year contract, and I didn't end up getting rehired, which is definitely a God thing. And so I spent that following summer not really sure what I was going to do. And so I was kind of just, like, pee-diddling around trying to think about it. Halloween is empty because I'm doing a trunk or treat at my church, and so I used that money to buy some stuff for the trunk or treat. And Black Friday is getting a 20 because I do have my shopping cart is ready. Like, I am ready online to buy stuff. So now it has 50, 100, 120, 140, 150, 155. So I took that summer and wasn't really sure what I was going to do. But I picked up a book from one of my favorite authors. Christmas is not getting anything. It is fully stuffed. Birthdays is not. And gifts is not. Let me see if I can get a little bit further in the story real quick. So I took the summer off, then pulled a book off my shelf and looked at the information or the copyright page and everything and looked through it. And I was like, wait a second, this girl's self-published. Maybe I could do this. Because that was my dream in life, was to be a writer, like to be an author. We did senior projects in high school where you had to pick a career and do a project on it. And I picked authors and I interviewed authors and stuff. But I knew, like, I was just like, oh, well, you have to get in with a publishing house and that's never going to happen. So I'll just do it for fun. I just assumed it wasn't a thing I could do. But then when I realized that self-publishing existed, I was like, wait a second, maybe I could do this. So I had a story. I had kind of been toying with writing. And so I did what is called NaNoWriMo. I don't do NaNoWriMo now. I actually do the rough draft challenge is what it's called, from Heart Breathings. But it's basically every November, it's National Novel Writing Month. And you try to write a novel in the month of November, like an entire novel. And so they do it a couple of times a year, and there was one in July. And so that's what I signed up for. I wrote a book in July and ended up spending the entire fall, winter season working on the book, getting it ready for publishing. And mostly I just focused on writing at first because publishing was really scary to me. But then once I started researching publishing, I realized it's not so bad, especially after you do one book, it's really not that bad. And published my first book in January of 2022. It was like 500 something pages long. And then I published the sequel to it, I think in September of that year. And that one was like 700 something pages long. They have since been unpublished because I'm actually going to be going back and rewriting them at some point. I love those books so dearly, but I want to do more with that series than I had initially planned. And since then, I have written the first two books. Then I wrote a Christmas rom-com novella that winter. So that was winter, like December of 2022. And then I wrote a trilogy in 2023. So that's 6 books. And then I wrote a standalone fairy tale retelling this last spring in June. And then I published a fantasy fall book, kind of Halloween inspired but not creepy, in October. And then I have another book coming out in November. At the end of November, it's a novella rom-com, which a novella is just a short novel. And yeah, that's basically my story with writing. I just wanted to like take a second and say all that because I knew I was going to get distracted. So that's basically my story with, I literally, guys, this is so sad. I have nothing in here, nothing in my wallet. It's completely empty except for those 5s and going out. That's it. So empty right now. That's how this month has been. It's just been like drained me dry. So yeah, I've published almost this 8 books. This is going to be 9. And this is I started in 2022. So this is my second full year of publishing. And yeah, it's been a learning curve. For reference, so this is I'm not putting anything here. This is my word tracker. I have these in my shop. But that's not a plug. I'm not trying to like make you buy them. I'm just saying where I like reward myself money for each step of the publishing and writing process. And so this book is going to be finished by the end of this month and published. But that money I'm leaving in my account because I know what I'm going to buy myself. I'm going to buy stuff to do gel nails, and I'm really excited. So I left that in my checking account because I'm going to order it online. So anyway, side note. Last year was 2023, so it was yes, wait a second, I published in 2022, 2023, and so this is my 3rd year of publishing. I can do math. So last year, my 2nd year of publishing, last May, I made $16. That's how much I made from writing. So I put a 20 in here, so we have 50, 70, 90, 100, 105. This is for my future book covers. I don't have anything that I need to buy right this second, but when I do, they come hard and they come fast, and then I'm not prepared, and then I regret it. So we're preparing in advance. I mean, $16 is not a lot, but it's money, you know, like that. I made that purely from books, which is really cool. So I should not make fun of myself. I should be proud of that, and I am proud of that. I really am. But it was because that was my 2nd year of publishing. And it was like I was a year and a half into publishing and only making $16 that month. And granted, that wasn't an accurate preview of every month I'd ever published, but I think I had never made more than $100 in a month. And that was pretty infrequent. It was more between like 50 and like 20, depending on the month. Which is, honestly, I think it's pretty normal. Everybody's experience is different. I know authors who published their first book and it skyrocketed and they did amazing the first time. And like their book took off and they were able to quit their job within their first 1 or 2 books and make it their full-time gig. That's not true for everybody. It took me, I made between like $10 and $50 on average most of the time for a solid 2 years. And then just this last winter, spring, things picked up. And actually I made $1,000 in the year of 2023. And this year, I hesitate to say money because it's weird. And I don't want people to feel guilty. Like if you're an author and you haven't made as much as I have and you've been publishing longer or whatever the situation is, I don't want you to feel bad. But for reference, for the month of 2024, I made just over $10,000, and in 2023, I made $1,000. And that's my income. That's not taking off all of the things that I paid for throughout the year. Like, they don't necessarily. I think I've still made more money than I spent this year. Last year, I spent more money than I made because covers are expensive and things like that. And in my first year, I spent money on stuff that was completely ridiculous. Like, looking back, I wish I knew a little bit more about what I was doing, but I didn't. And I can do a separate video on things that I would recommend to do and recommend not to do. And granted, take everyone's recommendations and advice with a grain of salt, because what works for one will not work for everybody else. Take it and then do what you want with it, but don't just treat it as gospel, because it might not work for me, but it might work for you. But I spent a lot of money that first year. But yeah, so that's kind of been my journey with publishing so far. It's been very inconsistent, really. That's just kind of the joys of being self-published, or like self-employed. And like the small business has been equally inconsistent. I've had months where I made, in the hundreds, and I've had months where I've made nothing. So it's so inconsistent, and everybody's experience is different. Like, I was watching Emily from the Aesthetic Dollar, and her saying that, her first video on YouTube just took off and her business just like skyrocketed. That's true for some people, but it's not true for everybody. And she knows that. And so she doesn't I'm not saying that she's telling everybody that's how it works. It's just, you might take 5 years before things pick up. It might take 5 months. It might take 5 days. It might take 15 years. Nobody knows. There's no formula to do this. So I don't say any of this to discourage anyone. Just, I don't know, if your business is growing slow, whatever it may be, don't feel bad, because mine's slow too. Like I said, my pay took like a half step back over the last 3 months. And that's been really, really difficult after getting used to a certain income, and then it takes a step back. You're like, wait a minute. So yeah, it's a tumultuous job to do, but if you are really, really passionate about it, I still recommend pursuing it, because it's the best job in the world. I don't regret doing this job, not a single bit. I love this job so much. Okay, back to the cash stuffing for a second so I can keep this moving. So I put 100 in here, so it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 650, 660. So it's almost enough for a plane ticket. So 7 of these, so 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So anyway, let me count that. That's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Okay, I just want to make sure, because last time when I did my cash stuffing, I messed up quite a bit of stuff. So anyway, that's my experience with being self-published. Being self-employed with the small business, as far as selling stuff like this, is quite a bit different, because books, you really don't have to put much investment into them if you don't want to. It's kind of up to you. I made my first 2 book covers, but since then I've had covers made, which is obviously more expensive. I don't use editors. Occasionally I'll use a beta reader, but mostly it's just me. So really the only thing I'm paying for is covers, but I've also done having character art made and having, I don't know, just different things done that were expensive. So it's self-publishing is kind of at your risk. You can be as risky as you want to be, but with a small business, it's scarier because you don't really know if things are going to sell, but you have to invest in them in order to sell them. For instance, here's a good example. I would like to start selling A6 binders. So I got a sample. Isn't she pretty? And it matches. So I have A5 binders. I don't have one out here, but I have A5 binders on my website, and I want to sell A6 ones that match the material. And I love this material so much. And I want to sell them, but you have to spend money on the inventory before you can sell it. I could do pre-orders, but pre-orders are really complicated and can get kind of messy, so I am not really a big fan of trying to do it. So it's just, it's sketchy. Trying to sell items is hard. It's harder with things like the binders or things that you order from a manufacturer because I have to order enough of them to sell them, which shipping is also a cost. Like even just getting some binders is out of my price range for this month, maybe next month. So you kind of have to like think, okay, how much money am I going to spend? And if you spend too much, are you going to make it back? I have definitely not made back what I spent so far on the small business. Not even close. We're not even close. Maybe eventually. So it's much riskier to do a small business because there's so much risk in the cost. Making envelopes and things is less risky because the materials are not super expensive. And you can make them material or the products in advance, but if you're worried that no one's going to buy it, you can wait and make them when they're ordered, when like people place an order. So it's a lot less expensive that way, but like shipping materials, things like that still cost money. So it is still somewhat of a risk and an investment. So you do still have to really think about what you're doing, you know? So we're putting 110 into debt. So that's for November. Just want to make sure it's not transferring. So this is for my debt savings challenge. I'm trying to pay off my debt. I don't have a ton left, but just enough that it's annoying. But we're getting there. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my journey with small businesses and stuff, and publishing. And if you guys would like to see a video where I talk about, you know, maybe the things that have worked for me and the things that haven't, I could do that. Just take it knowing that what worked for me and what didn't is not a, it's not a rule book to go by. Because I've seen so many people saying, don't do this, don't do that. And then I've seen those exact things being successful for somebody. So you never know what's going to work for you. You don't need to follow somebody else's blueprint. But there are some things that, you know, it's just good to have some caution about that I would be more than willing to share. So this is my emergency savings challenge, and I am putting 85 in here, which should be what we had left. 50, 20, yep, 85. But yeah, if you guys are interested in that, let me know. I would be more than happy to do that. And if you want to learn a lot about publishing, honestly, the best place I could point you would be Heart Breathings by Sarah Cannon. It's a YouTube channel here on YouTube. It's a YouTube channel. You're on YouTube. But she has a course called Publish and Thrive where she goes through the entire process for how to publish, like from start to finish. It's expensive, 100% worth it, worth every dime I paid for it. I'd highly recommend. I think it starts up again in January. So yeah, check that out if you're genuinely really interested in publishing. I wish I had taken it before I published because there's so many things I could have avoided. So anyway, so we're going to do my wallet real quick. This is also a sample I ordered, and oh my gosh, it's not showing up. I think it's because it's so bright on camera. Maybe if I turn the brightness down on the light. It's like this really pretty purpley taupe. Oh, I love it. And guys, like the easiest zipper I have, like butteriest zipper. I know it's a silly thing. Butteriest zipper I've ever felt. It has a zipper for change and a little pocket and a pen holder. And then it has another zipper over here and a pocket. And I keep my checkbook in here. It has more card slots back there. It's, oh, guys, it's so cute. I love it so much. And it comes with a little loop for your wrist. Oh, I just love it so much. See, I want to order more of these too. In the next couple months, they'll take forever to get here though, so don't get excited yet. If you're excited. If you are excited in seeing wallets and A6 binders come to the shop, please put it in the comments because I'd like to know how many people are actually interested, because that helps me know how many I should order. So beauty, I have 2 10s. I'm going to put 1 10. Or no, I have a 10 and a 5. I have 15 left in beauty. I think I quoted that wrong earlier. Put that in my wallet. So yeah, anyway. I don't think there's anything else for me to share. I only have 120 for eating out. I'm going to put the whole thing in here. I don't usually spend that much because I'm pretty picky, so I don't usually order a lot at restaurants. Anyway. So, yeah. We'll see how this weekly stuffing thing goes. If I like it, I have 2 5s in there. I'm going to keep that. No home. Kindness, I'm going to take the 5 out that I had. I usually stuff a lot in kindness, but this month is tight. But yeah, we'll see how this weekly thing goes. I'm hoping that I like it and that it kind of solves a little bit of the issue, because sometimes as the weeks go by, I start to get a little bit like inconsistent, like, you know, thinking I have money that I don't have, or like it's hard to keep up with things a little bit more. But if I'm having to, I'm going to put my renovations envelope actually in here, because I'm going to go to the store, to Home Depot on Thursday, and I'm going to get some insulation actually for the outdoor, for the outdoor greenhouse, because it's a little cold out there and I should have insulated it and I didn't, so we're going to do it now. But yeah, anyway, I'm hoping that this will help, because I can tend to be a little bit, think I have money I don't have, or get behind on like cash unstuffing and things like that. And I'm hoping that with this, I will pay attention more to my cash unstuffings, where I pay myself back for online purchases. So we'll see how it goes. Also, I left my envelopes, like all of my binders, outside last night in my outdoor office. And like I said, it's not insulated, so it's really cold in there at night, because it's basically like a glorified shed. It's really cute, but it's a glorified shed. And almost all of this one, these are all fine, I think, because they were inside here. But most of my other envelopes like curled outward at the top from being outside in the cold. So that's just a lesson. That, and I knew that, but I didn't think about it. But that's a lesson for everybody, that your envelopes, if you leave them outside, these ones didn't do too bad. Maybe because it was like, they're more like folded into here. But yeah, some of my envelopes curled from the cold air last night. So be aware of that with your envelopes, guys. Anyway, that's the end of this cash stuffing. Thank you guys for watching. If you're still here, God bless you. You're amazing. And if you have any questions about publishing, small business, or about me or anything, please let me know, because I'd like to start answering some questions in here, because it's sitting down and like making a talking video, just, it doesn't sound fun. So to be able to talk while I cash stuff sounds kind of fun. But if you don't like it, also let me know that. And yeah, and let me know if you are interested in either a binder, or an A6 binder, or a wallet, because I really want to order some, but I would like to know how many I should order. I'll probably order them next month. So I would like to know how many people would be interested, but bear in mind, they probably won't be up on the website until the new year. So sad, I know, but it's just where we are. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'm gonna stop talking and I'll just see you guys next time. Bye.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see.